Welcome you guys. As you heard before, I got new snare wires after 2 years of waiting. I got 42 strands, 24 strands and the glorious 13-inch wire again. Very limited. I got like 30 pieces of the 42 and maybe 20 of the 24s, so you have to hurry. But this should not be an advertising video only. On request, I will make a short video how to mount snare wires. It actually never occurred to me that this is a problem, but I'm doing it every day, so I share it with you how I do it, okay? So when I start changing the snare wires, I try to avoid the common mistake. Step number one is to loosen the snare strainer. So whenever I change snare wires, I make sure that the snare strainer is not in the off position but in the on position, okay? And then I'm loosening the fine screw nut, fine adjustment nut, to give it a little play like this here, okay? And I start always with the butt end side, okay? So some guys are totally into using straps like this, other no, these are cords actually. Other using straps like cut out pieces of a drum head. I'm not that picky. Some might say this covers tones, overtones, dampens the head or whatever. I don't worry as much, but I'm always avoiding like cables, because cables tend to cut through brass and wood shells, through the bearing edge on the snare, where the snare bed is. So I avoid always steel, okay? So I'm totally cool with the nylon here with the cords. So of course when you start mounting your snare wires, you want them to be centered, right? So you put them in the middle. So I start at the butt end, tie it, and then I squeeze it exactly in the middle of the butt end. See the correct length. And then I close the screws with my finger and I tie a knot. So that knot has a special purpose, okay? Okay, now I tie the knot and then I put the rest of the cord on the back side, on the downside of the butt end, okay? So it's double secured. Where's the key? So, okay, and then I simply have to go to the strainer side, and I'm doing the same thing with the knot again. So why I'm telling you in a moment. Okay, so strainer in the on position, put it again like on the back side in the middle, hold it tight here, and then tie the knot really tight. Okay, so the reason why I'm always doing those two knots is every time I have to change the resonant head, I can simply lose one screw on each side and take the wires out, and when I put it back again, I don't have to adjust the whole thing again. So it's always adjusted with those two knobs. Knobs. Nope. Okay, so here we go. Put this on the back side as well and secure it. It also looks nicer on the back side. What you want to do is, if you have those cords, at least that's what I do, I did it already here, is like take a lighter and close close the ends like this, okay? Otherwise they just flatter around and you know, the string breaks or the chord breaks after a while. So just close the end with a lighter. Okay, then only thing I have to do is walk this 12 kilo bronze drum around. And this is actually always my favorite moment, this turning around and doing this. And this is usually my favorite spot in drum making because it means I'm done with the drum and I can hear the beautiful sound of the drum. So there you go, it's easy as ringing the bell, and this system works mostly on every strainer and butt end that you might have. One tip aside, that's a 13-inch wire, and 13-inch wires do fit on 14-inch snare drums for sure. But that's a thing that you normally wouldn't do, like putting a shorter wire on a snare, on a bigger snare drum. But what happens is, if you have a shorter wire on a 14-inch drum or a 15-inch, the afterbuzz of the wires after the stroke mostly disappear. This means if you are in a very quiet setting in the music, maybe in a theater or somewhere where it's very quiet, the buzz of high sensitive snare drums can really be annoying, and it's almost impossible to get rid of the buzz. So a smaller wire helps because it's still sensitive though. It helps because it won't rattle after the stroke, or at least not as much as a wire set would do for 14-inch snare drums. So little secret tip here from the studio side, I always carry a 13-inch wire with me just in case it's too much of the buzz. Okay, thanks for watching. Yeah, you can still order the wires at info@massovdrums.com. The shop is currently not working. So thanks for watching. See you next time.